I've definitely seen a rise in women exploring their birthing options and the rise in home births. We try to be very honest about the physical, mental, emotional, informative preparations.
I was in labor for about 8 hours, I want to say, pretty much a whole work day. You're supposed to keep your legs closed. I said, oh yeah. Stuff like that is like you don't really think about.
This whole conversation about, oh, it's not safe, and I'm just like, guys, these are actual medical professionals. How did you prepare for your home birth?
A lot of people think because you mean home birth means it's like back in the day that you're just like giving birth on your own. Something happens, you kind of just got to suck it up, but it's not like that.
We love hearing from you, and we love hearing your stories and what you want us to cover on this podcast. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
As a doula, I've definitely seen a rise in women exploring their birthing options and the rise in home births. And while I do think that it's very reassuring that folks are learning about their options, we try to be very honest about the physical, mental, emotional, informative preparations that come with wanting a home birth. So welcome back, everyone, to Woman Word Podcast. And if you're joining us for the first time today, I'm Kim, your host, and this is a space, a community where we teach you, we inform you about maternal health and advocacy. We bring real stories, informative care through faith and expert guidance. I'm here with Chanél Foote, who is a birth doula, a placenta encapsulator, and the owner of Remedy Birth Services. Hi.
Hi, Kim. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. So I'm excited about this episode just because you've seen both ends of the spectrum. You've had a hospital birth and a home birth. So can you tell us about at what point did the idea of a home birth come to you?
So originally, before I even had my first child, I wanted a home birth. I just wasn't in the space to have a home birth, so I was going towards a birth center birth. Um, and I prepared for the birth center births all the way up until I was in labor. And then when I got there, I couldn't go there.
Oh,
They didn't have a birth assistant available. I guess it was short. So luckily it's a part in around the hospital. So I just went across the garage.
Yeah.
Went to the hospital. So I ended up just having a hospital birth. Um, but it was still, I still was able to achieve my goals pretty much as I could. And then when the second time came around, that's when I was more prepared for a home birth.
Yeah. Can you walk us through your hospital birth? Is there anything that sat with you, good or bad, or, just how you felt afterwards?
Okay, so my hospital birth. So because I got there and I was already 6 centimeters, so that was good.
That was that was your first birth, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's really good.
Yeah, I got there with 6 centimeters.
Yeah.
But I still ended up being there for I want to say about 24-ish hours, just due to my baby's positioning. So
Yeah.
she was in OP, like sunny side up. Didn't know that the whole entire time.
Wow.
I just had bad back labor. And then I did have a doula, but it was still like within those COVID regulations. So she was like virtual.
Yeah.
And I was educated then on back labor, what that could mean and everything. So I just didn't think much of it. I ended up laboring all the way up until 10 centimeters with no epidural.
What?
Yes. But
I didn't know you had so was your birth unmedicated or?
so I went to 10 centimeters. So in my mind, they told me, oh, once you're 10 centimeters, you're close to getting pushy. They won't let you get epidural.
Yeah.
Not true. So I was 10 centimeters, but she was still very high. So that was like, you're not close to pushing. They said you could try. So I tried pushed like an hour and a half of nothing. And of course, I got exhausted and everything. And they were just like, you're really tired. It's going to be some time if she's not low enough. So then they was talking about doing all these things to me. And back then I was educated on the positions they were referring to. So I was like, nah, just give me the epidural. I rested for about like 2 hours. And then I pushed again for like another hour and a half. Then she came.
Wow.
So, I mean, even though I got the epidural, I was still okay with my experience. Like, I needed the rest and everything. I still knew that I could probably have an unmedicated birth if it wasn't for those circumstances. My home birth, completely different.
Yeah.
I was in labor for about 8 hours, I want to say, pretty much a whole work day. Um, my labor started off very strong contractions. Um, my midwives came.
Yeah.
They came. That was like an hour away. So that was one of my biggest fears about having home birth, and her being so far was people kept saying, "Oh, the second labor is so much quicker." I was scared, but she made it in time, so that was cool. After about I want to say like 7 hours, she checked me. That was the first check I had the entire time. 6 centimeters. I was about to, yeah. So I was like, "What's going on?"
Wow.
So she gave me some tips like, "Oh, pelvic tips, all that stuff." Tried it. Water broke, and she was here in 30 minutes.
What?
Yeah. So completely two different experiences.
That's like
Yeah.
night and day.
Yeah, it really was, but it was great. Like I wouldn't say I had a bad hospital birth. That made me have a home birth.
Yeah.
I will say that helped prepare me more for a home birth, like what to expect during labor, even though it could be different, but kind of like the basics of it, how labor will feel, how it progresses throughout. So that helped mentally prepare me of how labor could kind of go for the second time.
Nice, nice. So what did you discover about your home birth though? That maybe no one even prepared you for mentally, spiritually, emotionally?
I feel like for a home birth, you really like your midwives are there.
Yeah.
They're pretty much very hands off, if I could say.
Yeah.
I'm in the townhouse, so I labored pretty much between the second floor and the third floor. They stayed on the second floor pretty much the whole entire time, unless they heard something that they came downstairs. Of course, like checking on the baby here and there, or just asking certain questions. Other than that, they pretty much sat up there, didn't really bother me, let me labor on my own.
Yeah.
Because I got one cervical check the whole entire time I was there. So that was when I was 16 years. After that, the ball was rolling. So, um, and another thing that I wasn't prepared for that kinda caught me off guard, not really caught me off guard, but pretty much like postpartum
Yeah.
a little bit is very different than a hospital.
Really?
Hospital, they come check on you, make sure they check all the boxes at home before the midwives leave. They kinda give you like a rundown what to do. I think kinda on your own. So
Yeah.
if you forget to take that pain medication, you're in pain. You have to do your own fundal massages every time you use the bathroom,
Mhm.
stuff like that. So that I didn't really prepare for. I didn't think to prepare for beforehand. I was just like, oh dang, forgot to take my medication. I was in pain. I feel like I got jumped. So
My
I was like, I didn't realize you would feel like this if you don't take your medication, which is why they come every few hours in the hospital to give you medication so you don't feel that pain. Um, but other than that, I feel like I was mentally prepared just from preparing for my first birth. I knew how to prepare myself mentally and physically, and my partner, he helped me. Yes, he was prepared for the first time. Second time, he was kind of like, okay,
got this.
got this. Yeah, see what he was on it. So
Was he like open to the home birth?
yeah, he was open
That's
to it.
great.
Especially after seeing how my first labor went.
Mhm.
He was kind of like, oh, you could do this. You'll be fine
Nice.
and everything. But he was just like, at any point, if you want to switch, we can. So he was very open to it. He was more comfortable with that because he had to sleep on the dad bed, anything, and then we didn't have to like worry about somebody watching our first child. Yeah, she was home.
Oh,
She was home.
everyone just got to be a part of.
Everybody was a part of it. My friend, my sister was supposed to come up and help, but she couldn't make it in time. So my friend came. She had her baby. Her baby was only 3 months old. She dragged him along. So she was helping fill up the pool. So it was like a lot more support I had there. Like I made feels more comfortable kind of supporting you than like a hospital where people feel like, oh, I can't do this. I'm about to ask the nurse. There you're kind of just like, oh, they feel more comfortable
Yeah.
helping you without feeling like you're disturbing something.
Yeah, yeah. In terms of your birth team, how did what was the difference for you? How did, your hospital, your OB, the nurses differ from like the care that you got from your midwife, your
Mhm.
birth assistant?
So it's very more personal. For example, my appointments with my midwife is way longer than if you used to go to OB. They sit there, they talk with you, they get to know you really, just so to see like, mentally how you're feeling and how that might affect your birth. So we talked a lot throughout our calls. Even afterwards, we would sit there. She would just talk a little bit about ourselves, about her, so you feel more comfortable. So when the time came for labor, she kind of knew like what to focus on a little bit more. Like she knew I gave birth before, I was a doula, so she was just like, I know you got this, but let me know at any point, because just because you're a doula when you're labor, you kind of everything goes out the window. You don't think about
I keep
anything.
telling people,
You don't
it's
think about
almost like
anything.
you don't remember
That's
anything.
not your focus right now. Yeah. So I had a doula. She was still in college, Morgan State. They have a doula program,
Yeah.
and I went to Morgan, so I was like, oh, that'd be nice. I wish they had that when I was there.
Oh, okay.
So I got a doula from there.
Nice.
So it was good to have that reassurance. Like, okay, don't forget to do this. The midwife, she was a doula a long time ago, so she kind of knew like pointers and stuff like that. So it felt very more personal, I would say. Like, they're open to anything. They're just like, "Oh, I'll tell you this. Your friend can help. Anybody's here who can help. Let me know if I'm needed." Um, and she kinda just knew, more about myself to figure out how to make my labor smoother, more personal, more comfortable.
Yeah,
So it was really nice.
that's nice. I mean, home birth preparation, though, versus hospital preparation, arguably very different. How did you prepare for your home birth?
Um, I kinda just prepared, like, I feel like majority of it's mental.
Yeah,
A lot of it's mental.
we try to tell the client.
Yeah, it's like it's something you can't just sit there and just be like, "Oh, I have a home birth," and if stuff no, you kinda gotta think differently, like, "Okay, this is gonna happen, I need to prepare myself for the labor pain," how long it could possibly take, not everybody's labor short, you know, making sure that if something was to happen, you're mentally prepared for that, 'cause
Yeah.
anything can happen during labor you don't expect, which is why there's protocols in place, you have to mentally prepare yourself for everything that could possibly happen. Rather when you're already at a hospital, you kinda just like, "Okay, I'm here." A lot of things could happen rather than, "Imma have a home birth, I'll be fine."
Yeah.
Or if you think, "Oh, if something happens, that means, like, something's completely, going wrong." A lot of reasons why people go to the hospital from a home birth, that's not necessarily that. Most of the time, they're exhausted. They're very tired after a long labor, especially your first. Um, but people, like I feel like if you don't mentally prepare yourself for that, if something like that does happen, kinda just change your whole experience on home birth, and that's something you kinda just have to mentally prepare yourself for beforehand, just to keep yourself, in a positive spirit.
Mhm. And I know you sort of touched on the postpartum part, but how did that postpartum differ? Home birth versus hospital birth for
Um, like I said, very more comfortable. You feel like at peace. Like after you give birth, after they make sure everything's good, you back in your bed, watch your
Yeah.
TV,
Yeah.
kind of just goes like as if you were at home. Except besides just making sure you really have to take care of yourself. Or if your partner's at home with you, whoever's at home with you, really have to be on top of it because you just gave birth. Sometimes it slips your mind. You don't think about the medication. You don't think about doing your massages when you're using the bathroom, stuff like that. If you have stitches, you have to
Mhm.
be careful, especially if you have steps. I didn't get stitches. I tore a little bit, but I didn't have to get stitched.
Okay.
So they was like, "Oh, like make sure you sit a certain way." And so the midwife does come back. I want to say with like 2 days.
And they come to you.
They come to you. They come to you. You're comfortable and everything. They kind of just want to see how you are at home. She came in. I was sitting on the couch any type of ways, legs crossed. She said, "Girl, what are you doing? You're supposed to keep your legs closed." I said, "Oh yeah." Stuff like that is like you don't really think about. When you're in a hospital, you kind of just mentally think, "Oh, let me make sure I sit this."
Yeah.
At home, you're comfortable. You kind of just go as if you didn't give birth.
Yeah.
So you kind of just have to have in the back of your head, like you still just gave birth. It's still very much postpartum. You still have to be careful. Walk around the house. Sit a certain type of way if you have to. So it's like it's good you're comfortable, but sometimes depending on how your postpartum's going, how your labor goes, you kind of have to remember, like, oh, I have to do this just to make sure nothing you know transforms later down the line. But it's completely different. If you have peace, nobody's there bothering you
I know.
24/7. Worry about the baby. Um, but for me, I feel like because it was my second time, I kind of knew what to expect. First time parents, they might just feel like it's a little bit overwhelming just because they already don't know what to expect. And they kind of just left her on her own. So for like a first time mom, I would say like probably look more into that postpartum. Or if you're like, make sure like your midwife tells you exactly, maybe write it down for you. Maybe make sure your set alarms, make sure your partner is aware because it will sleep in mind. You probably don't, you really don't know
That's
what to really do, what to take care of specifically. So.
Did you have like did your like after birth meals differ as well or
Um,
I know it's
I
such
would
a
say yeah and no. Yes, because 'cause you're at home, so you can eat leftovers if you want. Somebody's there. Your mom could come over, cook
yeah.
you instead of waiting 2 days till you get home. You have to eat just, hospital food or takeout while you're there. So, yes and no. Kinda just you have more freedom as of what you could eat, which could be good, could be bad.
Yeah.
But, for me, it wasn't too much of a difference.
And what about the bonding part? You feel like you bonded better with her versus your first?
I would say yes. Yes, mainly because, like I said, there's not much interruption.
Yeah.
Postpartum, a lot of people don't realize how much they come in your room
They do.
to check on you, to check on the baby. Always something has to be done.
Yeah.
Like you be sitting there, trying to breastfeed your baby. Somebody comes in, disturbs you. You really have like more time for you and the baby really to get to know each other. Rather than somebody's telling you, "Oh, try this, try this." You kind of have to figure it out more on your own. And if you have like other kids at home. They all bond together, but then waiting till mommy comes home and mommy's retired. It's kind of just like a lot more comfortable, a lot more union at home than if you was in a hospital.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. I think even in terms of home birth safety, there's just a lot to debunk there. There's this whole conversation about, oh, it's not safe. And I'm just like, guys, these are actual medical professionals. Let's be for real.
Yeah.
So, like in your experience,
Mhm.
though, what would you say? What are some common misconceptions about the whole safety of home birth?
The main thing I heard when I told people, they were just like, well, a lot of people think because he means home birth means it's like back in the day where you're just like giving birth on your own.
Yeah.
Something happens, you kind of just got to suck it up. It's not like that. Like you still have a regular medical team. I had a midwife and a birth assistant there, and another birth assistant, so it was three.
Wow.
It
Yeah.
was three. They have all their tools. They have all the emergency tools that they need as much as they could, which is why there's always an emergency plan in place in case the baby needs more help. We go to the hospital, but they do have stuff that they bring to help me and the baby if needed. Um, so my family, that's the main thing they was concerned about. I was like, oh, what if something happens? I'm like, they're prepared. Like they're not just random somebody off the street who's helping me give
Exactly.
birth. They're trained professionals, like I said. Some of them work in a hospital. Not all of them just do home birth.
Exactly.
Um, so I feel like after my experience, after no, I didn't have any parents there. It was just me, my husband, and my friend. So of course afterwards they're like, "Oh, like what happened to everything?" I'm like, "They took it." Like, but I took pictures. I was like, "See, look, they have like all the things that can need. Well, not everything, but majority of stuff that they need to at least make sure your baby's okay. If it needs more help, there's a plan to go to the nearest hospital and everything's not just kind of like, oh, we have to call 911 to wait. Like, no, we kind of know what to expect. Um, they have, like, medication in case I'm bleeding too much.
Hmm.
They have Pitocin, put it right there in your thigh. They have resuscitation tools for the baby if needed. So I think a lot of people are just very uneducated
Yeah.
on it. They think back to, like, the old days where it's just like, if you're bleeding, you're gonna bleed out. Like, there's a lot of it's very advanced now
It is. It
to the
is.
point where you just feel comfortable.
And a lot of the tools that they have, it's the same. They carried a lot of the same tools as in
They
the
do.
hospital
Mhm.
as well. Can you talk a little bit about how they prepared you for like a transfer? Of course, you didn't have a
Mhm.
transfer, but what that looked like?
So before, they will, of course, they'll get, like, a form.
Yeah.
And it kinda gives you, like, the hospitals around the area or which hospital you wanna go to. How far is it? Um, and then they were just like that we just have a plan, like, "Okay, if something goes wrong and this or this happens, we can't really, help out with that. We don't have that type of tools that we're able to carry around, but we have this to able to get you or baby to the hospital." So we know what hospital we would go to if anything goes wrong. Usually, they find a hospital that works with home births, like, midwives that do home births, so they're more centered around home births. A lot of people, you don't go to the wrong hospital, they're like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" You trying to say they kind of know what to prepare.
Yeah.
They kinda know what they're coming from, what they are probably possibly experiencing, so, that's pretty much all it was. They kinda just don't, touch on it too much. They kinda like, "We just need this information
Yeah.
for purposes, for emergency purposes." Majority well, at least the hospital that I was going to, they had midwives there.
Yeah.
So majority of the time, you're going to somebody who's comfortable, who knows, kind of what keep up with your um birth plan. You think you go to the hospital doesn't mean your birth plan has to change depending on what's happening. Sometimes you just need that epidural just to rest, and after that, kind of just goes as planned as much as it's possible. Beforehand, they do give you, at least for my life, we had to order our own supplies.
Yeah.
So kinda like you do go on the website, they already have it like an order, you go to your midwife and everything's there. So you kinda just don't sit there and be like, "Oh, what they gonna bring?" You have it there already at the house. So when they come here, like, "Where's the box?" They take everything out. So you kind of like mentally know, "Okay, well, they have this." So it's not kind of like, "Oh, I wonder what's going to happen." Um some midwives, they heal like a whole practice run through.
Yeah.
Like they'll blow up the pool. They'll sit here and be like, okay, this is how much the water has to be filled up to, how hot it needs to
Nice.
be. So you kind of just know what to prepare beforehand. So you're not rushing last minute, like, oh, what's going to happen? How does this happen? Once labor starts, you kind of know how to prep before the midwives even get there and what they would do when they get there.
What did you look for in your midwife, though, when you were choosing a midwife? Was there anything in particular, that maybe stood out to you, or you were like, okay, like I have to have this in a midwife?
Um, Really, I just want to feel comfortable with her.
Yeah.
So based on like the consultation, I was trying to see like how they connect with me. I brought concerns from my previous pregnancy, so see how they reacted off that. So with my midwife that I picked, I had I didn't have a cervical. I didn't take progesterone.
Oh, okay.
The first time I had an incompetent cervix,
Okay.
which means my cervix was a little too short, which could increase your chance of going to labor earlier. So she was on it right from the consultation. She was like, "Oh, I know what to give you." And the thing that's different about midwives and OBs in the hospital, OB was like, "Oh, we're gonna send you to maternal fetal medicine, and you're gonna get a cerclage. You're gonna take
Yeah.
progesterone." With her, 'cause I was so early, she was like, "Oh no, it's like this. It's like a tincture."
Mhm.
And she was putting it away very nasty, very nasty. Putting your water off jump. She was like, "Oh, no, get this. It will help." I had clients who helped them prevent from going to preterm labor and everything. So I didn't have to take it for long, but she kind of like, they're more resourceful on remedies rather than medicine. They go to straight to there, but she kind of like acted on it off jump. Whereas with my first pregnancy, I went through two different OBs.
Mhm.
Well, I had an OB and then I had a midwife. And the OB, even though she was black and everything, I brought up that concern because my aunt had it and my grandma had it. So I was just like, just to
Okay.
rule it out. She's like, "No, it's not hereditary. Don't worry about that. They was carrying twins. Don't worry about it." They didn't even check. So I was just like, okay,
Oh my
like, so
gosh.
that's what made me switch, got a new
Check.
provider. And she was just like, "Okay, well, I'll schedule a appointment." Sure enough, so if I didn't switch, who knows what could have happened.
Oh my gosh.
So it was reassuring that that was the first thing she made sure she jumped on. She, even before I even like confirmed that she'd be my midwife, she checked on me. She's like, "Hey, did you order that? I want to make sure it sometimes takes a week to come in. I want to make sure you're on top of it early and everything." So I felt real comfortable with her. Um, Even though she wasn't black, she was still like very like, she's a midwife. She was a doula, so all her birth sisters were black. She was just like, white. I still encourage, black midwives. All my birth sisters are black and stuff like that. So she was made me feel very comfortable. My husband loved her, so
That's good. So you kind of felt like you guys sort of knew each other almost.
yeah.
Whereas with the hospital birth, it sounded like there was just this
Yeah, it was very I do my job and I leave. With them, they kinda like, "I wanna get to know you to see." A lot of times if somebody has, like, anxiety or something, they could kind of know they had anxiety beforehand, so during labor, they know how to kind of keep them relaxed and calm without the anxiety spiking up, because that could affect labor. So, I did feel very comfortable with her. We felt, like one-on-one, like, when we was leaving, she was like, "It always feels so wrong, like, the last visit with them, I never see people again." It's like you build that bond.
You do.
Even like sometimes I drive past, I just want to stop by and say hi. Stop by to her office. So this makes you feel way more comfortable in labor. Like you feel more comfortable with speaking up if you feel like something's wrong, or if you just have questions without feeling like, oh, I'm bothering them. It's like they don't care. They got get that somebody else to worry for.
Yeah.
And like another good thing, it's just you there. It's
Mhm.
not like they have to check on other patients in the hospital. All their focus is on you. Whatever you need, they're there for.
Mhm. That's a really good point, especially right now, most practices, they're rotational.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, like, patients don't know who's
Yeah.
gonna deliver, and I know that's, like, a qualm right now,
Mhm.
with a lot of pregnant women. They're just like, "Ugh, we don't even know who, or we may like you when you're probably not
Yeah,
here." Yeah, yeah.
so very reassuring to know that she, or sometimes, so they do have backup midwives in
Mm.
case like two clients go into
Mhm.
maybe the same time, but you meet them
Mhm.
and everything, and they still come. So it's just like, oh, if I'm finishing up, she'll be there. Just so you had somebody, but I'm coming right. I'm coming back. I don't care if you gave birth. I'm coming to see you,
Mhm.
and everything. So they're very like very more personal. Like you feel comfortable with them. You kind of know. Sometimes you meet their family, so it felt really good. It felt way more personal.
Personal,
Yeah.
nice. What's that part of home birth that social media or like the TikToks, the Instagrams, like they don't really show?
I would say how messy it could get.
Oh yeah.
It could get messy.
Yeah.
It could get messy. I know people show like the glamorous part,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going through labor, but then the baby's here, and it can get very messy depending on how labor goes.
Yeah.
Especially depending on where you are in your house. It's chucks pads everywhere. It's just, even if you have like the water tub,
Mhm.
you got hose everywhere. It can be very messy. But it's also very beautiful in it. So it's like afterwards, you kind of look, you're like, dang, I really gave labor. I really gave birth in my house. It's really crazy. It's like afterward that realization that you really didn't. I mean, you get it regardless, but it's just like, well, at my home, in my comfort. Then you go this attachment to your house. It's just like, I'm not getting rid of my house.
I
My baby was born here.
know. Aw.
So And it's very like after birth, a lot of people think because it is messy. If it is messy, it kind of just like ruins it. They do a great job cleaning up.
Mhm.
They use all the peroxide they need to get like blood out and everything. Um, it's very nice though, but you do have to, like I said, a lot of stuff is on you. It's very more independent.
Yeah.
Home birth. You have to file your own like birth certificate, everything. Stuff you don't even think about. You really have to make sure you do or won't really get done. Of course, like they would check in if you need questions, they would do it, but it's kind of just, you know, everything's not processed through a hospital. It's kind of like they don't have that type of access. So it's kind of like you got to do a lot of stuff yourself, like make sure, like I say, everything's registered right. They'll give you the forms. They may fill it out for you, but you have to be the one to submit it. They can't submit it for you. So that's one thing that I didn't know about it.
Okay. Nice. What's one word that describes the season you're in right now?
The season I'm in, I feel like 2026 rises right now. I would say one word is becoming. Yeah, better think about it.
I love that.
So becoming. So it's kind of like last year's more so like just figuring out what exactly I'm gonna do this year. I feel like more. I kind of know what God has in line for me. I just have to, go through with the path.
Amen.
Yeah, and just kind of, figure out along the way. This is what He has prepared for me. Just kind of go along with it, even though I don't see it yet. I just gotta keep going.
That's good. Well, thank you, Chanel. It
Thank
was
you.
great. Can you tell everyone where to find you or?
Yeah, so on Instagram you can find me at Remedy Doula Services. Um, because I'm a birth doula, placenta encapsulator. So that's where and my website's on there as well, remedydoulaservices.com. I service people in the Maryland area, DC, Northern Virginia area.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
And thank you so much for joining us, guys. If you feel like this episode resonated with you or someone else, share this episode, like, subscribe, and of course, send us your emails, womanwordpod@gmail.com. We love hearing from you and we love hearing your stories and what you want us to cover on this podcast. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.